Macmillan Audio presents The Mother Next Door by Andrea Dunlop and Mike Weber. Read for you by Andrea Dunlop. Author's note. The names of children who appear in this book have been changed to protect their privacy, as have those of individuals who did not participate in interviews, with the exception of public officials and both convicted and alleged perpetrators. Introduction. It was a rainy night in Seattle in July 2019. The global pandemic that would reshape life as we knew it was still several months in the future. But my life was in its own dramatic state of flux. I was a first-time mom trying to navigate the exhausting back and forth of being a working parent. My daughter, Fiona, was 8 months old, and I was launching my third novel, We Came Here to Forget, at one of my favorite local bookstores. It tells of an Olympic skier whose relationships and career are turned upside down by a family catastrophe. Book publications, with their touring demands, media pushes, endless social media shilling, and alternating waves of excitement and dread, are always draining. But this one was like nothing I'd been through before. The book was fiction, yes, but it was heavily based on events that had destroyed my family. I'd never written anything that made me feel so vulnerable. Overall, the launch was not going especially well. If you are lucky enough to publish more than 1 or 2 books in your life, as I have been, you are sure to have at least one where everything goes wrong. This was mine. For one thing, my beloved editor had left the publishing house some 6 months earlier, leaving me orphaned. Since then, there had been so many staffing changes that no one who had worked on my previous books was still in place by the time this had come out. Worst of all, instead of spending publication day trying to relax before the launch event that night, I had spent it alternating phone calls with my lawyer, agent, and therapist. The cause was an 11th hour cease and desist I had received from my sister Megan, attempting to halt the publication of my novel and insisting I stop discussing my personal connection to one of the central themes of the book, Munchausen by Proxy. Megan had always denied the abuse allegations, and now her lawyer was demanding that I retract my previous statements to the media and cancel my tour. In essence, she wanted me to shut up and go away. I wrote the majority of We Came Here to Forget while I was pregnant with my daughter. I always knew I'd write about my sister eventually. Writers are prone to working out their traumas on the page. When motherhood came into the picture, it suddenly felt necessary to write about the tragedy that had devastated my own family. Some book ideas take forever to coalesce, while others, like this one, arrive fully formed and feel so urgent that you ignore them at your own peril. My life was in a good place when I wrote the book, but you don't get over becoming estranged from your only sister, especially when that separation is due to something as terrifying as suspicions of child abuse. At best, it's a wound that changes over time, and just when you think it's closed, it splits right open again. For me, the experience of becoming a mother brought my history with my sister to the surface in a way that I was no more prepared for than anything else about new motherhood. I feel the loss of my sister particularly acutely during life milestones. I always imagined she'd be the first person I'd call when I found out I was pregnant. Even now, I can imagine the conversation vividly. I can hear her telling me how excited she is, soothing all my fears, and talking me through the endless list of pregnancy do's and don'ts. She used to work as a nurse in an OBGYN clinic. So she would have been the perfect person to ask about my dreadful morning sickness and all of the paranoias that accompany a first pregnancy. It would have given me an opportunity, increasingly rare as we grew into adulthood and our lives took different paths, to feel close to her again. She would have been so great on that call. But she wasn't there on the other end of the line to take that call, just as she wasn't there to celebrate with me when I got my first book deal. She wasn't standing next to me on my wedding day. She wasn't holding my hand in the delivery room. Her absence has fundamentally altered the life I thought I would lead. I was sure we'd raise our kids together. I took for granted that she'd be there to help.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?